quick trailer update. This is the trailer that I use mostly to do preservation work. I'm not doing as much of that anymore. I'm still working for realtors, but that's more like a REO thing, which is different than preservation, contrary to popular belief. So I'm going to show you what I changed on the trailer. This cord used to be over here. There used to be a pole saw and hedge clippers and a weed eater on this side here underneath of that extension ladder. And its place now is an 8-foot and a 6-foot ladder that hangs. Everything else, for the most part, is the same that's there. I did change my pole saw and hedge clipper setup to the quick attachment so that I could use just one power head instead of the dedicateds. So they take up less room. There's not really a good way to secure them so that they don't get stolen, but as of right now, it's not really an issue. I do plan to make something for it, maybe a cage around the heads of them so that they can't be slid out or something, I don't know. But one thing I did start doing was I started building brackets and bolting them to the trailer instead of welding them. I did that because I'm realizing that I change things too much. So in the event that I like it where it is, I'll just go ahead and tack weld it in place. I did the same thing with this weed eater power head holder. Just bolted it in here. That way, if I don't like it, like I said, I can move it. The winch is there still. I don't know if it was there on the last video. I can't remember. I changed this trailer so much. But basically the idea is this entire setup here is all that can come out with about 6 bolts. And it'll bring the weed eater roller and the gas can holder with it. So that can be unbolted. Even the handheld blower, it just has a little spot where it sits, and it's the same basic idea. It just bolts in place. All of these things, I haven't painted them yet, as you can tell. One thing I did do, though, if you watch my last video on the trailer, is I fixed my chainsaw door. I made it out of scrap metal, and it was kind of pieced together, and now that I know I like it there, I go ahead and change the door so that it's cleaner looking. So the trailer needs to be painted. Under there, you'll notice I cut out a section of the dump. I did that because I needed to add a larger water tank, and I wanted a place to install the pressure washer, and I wanted to move the hydraulics and the air compressor off of the outsides of the trailer. So I'll walk around here. I don't like how naked this part of the trailer is here, but I think I'm going to build a custom toolbox that goes there. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. That rack was always there. It holds like bleach and, paint, whatever, anything in a 1-gallon jug, basically. Back here used to be my bucket, my water bucket. My hand tools used to be here. That was the rake and shovel and all that stuff that stuck out at the back there. Air compressor used to be here. Let's see. Around the back, nothing's really changed on this. The tarping system's the same. But if you look under the tarping system, you'll see the cutout of the dump. I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't like taking capacity away. But as I said, I'm not doing as much of that kind of work as I used to. So it still holds quite a bit. So I think it's okay. On the gate, I put the bucket. This is actually held on by a 100-pound magnet. There's a metal plate that I put on the back of this. I'll show you. Throws the balance of the bucket off a little bit, but it's not that bad. But you got to give it a yank. It's just a metal plate there and a 100-pound magnet from Harbor Freight screwed in there. Again, the bracket's screwed in place so that when I decide I don't like it, which for this I'd probably think I'm going to take off, it won't take much to get it off. But you can see that this magnet is pretty damn strong, so it doesn't come off. I put the bungee on it because why not, but it won't come off. Back behind the trash can dump, I just put my hand pump, the water pump. I use that whenever I was cleaning toilets and I needed to drain it all the way. Put some antifreeze in. Those things are cool. They're 30 bucks, but to me it just seems like you can save a lot of water when you're cleaning toilets, because you don't have to then try to flush a bunch of clean water down it to get the level right. If you clean toilets and you need them emptied, you know what I'm talking about. This is the water shut off tool. It just kind of goes there. I didn't make it for that spot, it just kind of fit, so I put it there. On this side here I have the table. I did an update where I showed that I reinstalled a table that used to be there. This one I changed. It's 24 by 24 now. It's the same basic work though. It's, you know, it's magnet held in. I can yank it up, and I got to put a triangular brace in place, and then it sits. I'll show you the brace. Triangular brace, it just kind of sits there. And then obviously underneath of it I have some chemical racks, pressure washing hose reel. I moved my hand soap dispenser here because my water valve is here. I can just kind of quick unconnect this, wash my hands, and then connect it back together. And that connection goes to this 100-foot hose reel. This is just clean water, and there used to be a water tank here. It was only 15 gallons and I didn't like it there. Also, the hydraulics were all right there with the battery. And then I can't remember what else was over here. I know that sounds crazy, but so what I did was I put in a rack for screws and door locks and doorknobs and shit like that. And then up top here there's a small little cage. This was kind of a dead space spot because I did the measurements wrong. I was supposed to be able to fit 5 bins and I'm only able to fit 4. So what I did was I just put in some expanded metal in here and just put in my rekey kit. These 2 things of spray paint I use to freshen up door hasps or paint doorknobs before I install them, because for whatever reason, even though the work orders say rekey, they don't like old doorknobs. So part of the reason why I'm done with these people. But so that just kind of closes, and then there's a little bit of a lip here. When you swing this closed, it latches everything in place, and then the padlock goes there. But these won't come out. I guess if you yanked on them hard enough, you'd probably break it to the point where you could get to it, but there's nothing valuable enough in there for it to be an issue. I don't think I showed on the other side, but I have 2 of these. These are just cord reels. They're 30 foot. They're supposed to have outlets on the end of them, but I wired them into my light bars. These are just kind of work lights for the trailer. If I'm working and it's dark, daylight savings time kind of makes it so that we end up working when it's a little bit darker than normal. So that's that. I plumbed in a pipe to connect to my pressure washer right there, and that basically is the supply to the pressure washer. So I can either connect this hose to it, or I can connect a hose from the customer's house. Basically what I did was I made 2 adapters, a 2-way on this end and a 2-way on that end. Basically the idea is that I can run this cord out and change this male head to a female head, and then it'll connect to the house. And then on this side, which is what usually has the female head, I put a double-ended quick connect, and this will connect to that over there. What you know what, I'll actually show, because I know I sound like I'm crazy. Okay, so in this bin is what I'm talking about. I have a fitting that changes this to 2 male ends. So now I can connect the male end of a quick connect into this and a male end into this, which means I can hook it on here, connect that in, and then I can pull this hose over and hook it up there. That means that I have 100 foot that I can run to the customer's house and hook up. That'll hook up the pressure washer. So I hope that makes sense. I know it's probably a little confusing, but... And then obviously, you know, the storage racks I made, I already showed that stuff. The rest of this stuff was pretty much the same. This is kind of a crane arm that I'm working on. I'm not really sure how I like it. I'm not going to go too much into detail about how it works, because there's some other attachments that connect to it. If I can get it to work properly, then I'll show a video on it, but as of right now, it's just a project. I haven't painted any of the new additions that I did yet, so all of this stuff is still, you know, pretty crude. But oh, I guess I didn't show you this drawer underneath of the bin slot. There is just a drawer, and you can see what's in there. That's, you know, basically what goes in there. Nothing that can really get messed up if it gets wet, and it goes in and out hard enough that I haven't had any issues with it opening. But I may put a magnet on the back of it, a 100-pounder or something. Let's see, what else? What do we got here? What I did was, when I cut that section out of the dump, I built a 24-inch tray that goes in here. I hope you can see this right. That's a 30-gallon water tank. I'm going to climb down in here so you can see better. Okay, so now I'm under the dump. But so there is the water pump that runs my water tank. There is my hydraulic pump on the other side of the water pump. You can't really see it very well, but I guess if I open this drawer up, you'll be able to see it. So yeah, hydraulic pump, battery, bunch of cluster of wires, 30-gallon tank from Northern Tool. I just kind of drilled a hole in the bulkhead there, and just, you know, this is the fill neck for it. Goes out there. It's got a quick connect end on it. This is the pressure washing hose that runs from the actual pressure washer over to connect here to the hose reel. This wasn't long enough, obviously, and I had an extra 50 feet, so I used this. I don't want to keep it like this, but it's what I had, and I needed it connected. Pressure washer. It's just a regular old 3000 psi Northern Tool, 2.5 gallon a minute jammy. It's not greatest thing in the world, but it's not the worst thing. It's I haven't had to use anything stronger than this yet. I do wish that I had more gallons per minute. I've learned watching videos and other things that that's kind of where the magic happens, when you get up in the 4 gallon a minute range. So I am working on a pressure washer for that. I have an 11 horsepower Honda motor that I got a rebuild kit for. So I'm going to freshen that up and then get a like a 4 gallon a minute triplex pump or something cheap, just to you know, get me going. I ended up welding on a stupid little shroud here. It just puts the exhaust out the front. A funny thing is I meant to shoot it out the back, but when I started welding it backwards, and I didn't figure it out until I put the shroud back on. So that's kind of a funny thing, but it doesn't seem to make a difference, front or back. I guess it's all the same. My brain says this is going to catch wind or rain. I don't know. So, but anyways, so that's that pressure washer, and then the air compressor sits under there. You can't really see it, but it's in there. Sits alongside where the chainsaw box foot comes out, and then that's bar and chain lube. I don't use that much, so it kind of sits there in the cut. But basic, this is pretty much what I got. These are the new little additions that I made to plumbing and all that stuff. And then, like I said, these quick attachments, these used to be the dedicated pole saw, dedicated hedge clippers. What I did was I went to partstree.com and I ordered just the poles that have the correct holes in the bottom. I guess I could have cut mine and did all of that stuff, but this way, something happens and I decide I need them dedicated again, I can just pop the heads off and put them back on the sets that I have in storage. You know, it's just the motor and the pole now, but it's kind of, you know, good thing is it's kind of backup motors. If something happens to that one, I can pull one of the motors off the other one and keep on moving. So there's that other hose reel, electric reel that has that light hooked up to it. So I know this one was probably far less coherent than the last one. I'm gonna climb up out of here. And then when you're around the front of the trailer, the only thing different up here is where I put my hand tools. And they're actually a little bit lower. I haven't really had any issues with that, but I like that they don't stick up. That rake used to stick up out of the way and kind of bothered me a bit. But so that's good. And then just made a little thing to hold the hold the toilet brush, though I don't use that much anymore. So that's basically it, in a nutshell. You can see it's all opened up and looks a bit crazy, but I like it like this. So we'll see what happens. I hope this interested you guys. Okay, talk with you.